If you've ever filled up your car in California, you've likely experienced a unique form of emotional and financial distress. It's that moment when you look at the spinning numbers on the gas pump and think, did I just buy a tank of fuel or a majority stake in a tech startup? As of early June 2025, the average price in the state hovered around $4.72 a gallon, a price that would make someone in Laredo, Texas, who was paying just $2.53, spit out their very reasonably priced coffee. This isn't a new phenomenon. Californians have become accustomed to paying significantly more for their gasoline than almost anyone else in the United States. It's a sad, recurring part of life, like jury duty or realizing another season of your favorite show has been canceled. The price difference isn't just a few pennies here and there. A report from state regulators in May 2025 highlighted a persistent gap. Even after you account for all the known costs, state taxes, environmental fees, and the cost of making cleaner burning fuel, Californians were still paying an average of 41 cents per gallon more than people in other states. This extra cost has been appropriately nicknamed the mystery gasoline surcharge. It's a mystery in the sense that no one in power seems to want to give a straight answer about it, much like how your cable company explains its broadcast TV fee. It's just there and you're expected to pay it without asking too many questions. This consistent price premium has led to a lot of finger-pointing. Drivers blame politicians blame oil companies, and oil companies, well, they mostly just seem to enjoy counting their money. The situation gets particularly frustrating during price spikes, like the one in the fall of 2022 when oil companies' excess profits, the amount they made above their usual margins, reportedly shot up to an incredible $2.36 per gallon. That's not just a little extra cream on top, that's buying the whole dairy farm. It's the kind of profit margin that makes you wonder if the gasoline is infused with gold flakes or the tears of angels. So, what is the real story behind this fiscal gut punch? Is it a secret plot, a complex economic reality, or just the price of living in a state with sunshine and avocado toast? The truth, as it often is a messy combination of several factors, including state policies, market dynamics, and yes, some very healthy corporate profits. Trying to untangle it all can feel like trying to fold a fitted sheet, frustrating, confusing, and you're pretty sure you're not doing it right. But understanding the different pieces of the puzzle is the first step to figuring out why filling up your tank feels less like a routine errand and more like a shakedown. When confronted with the eye-watering price of gas, you might hear a common explanation. But California uses a special blend of cleaner-burning gasoline. It's better for the environment, and that's why it costs more. This sounds plausible, doesn't it? It frames the high price as a noble sacrifice for cleaner air. California does indeed have stricter environmental standards that require a unique formulation of gasoline, particularly in the summer months, to reduce smog-forming emissions. This fuel is more complex and expensive to produce, which logically adds a bit to the final price at the pump. It's a real factor, and it's been part of the state's fuel landscape for decades. However, the special blend argument starts to fall apart when you look at the numbers more closely. While a different blend does cost more, it absolutely does not account for the entire price gap, and certainly not the wild price spikes we see. The state's own regulators have pointed out that the mystery surcharge exists after accounting for the higher cost of producing this cleaner fuel. So, while the blend is different and costs more, it's being used as a convenient excuse to hide other, more significant factors that are driving up the price. It's like a magician distracting you with a puff of smoke while his other hand is reaching for your wallet. Interestingly, if you scour the latest news reports and official statements from the governor's office, you won't find them blaming a different blend. In fact, they almost never mention it. Governor Newsom has been very vocal, but his accusations are aimed squarely at what he calls price gouging by oil companies, not at the chemical composition of the fuel itself. There are no recent state-sponsored studies being waved around to prove the gas is different, because that isn't the point of contention anymore. The fact that the gas is different is settled. The real question is why the price premium for it seems to fluctuate so wildly and grow so large. So is the gas different? Yes, technically. Does that explain everything? Absolutely not. Relying on the special blend argument is like blaming a single leaky faucet for a flooded house. It's a contributing factor for sure, but it distracts from the burst pipes and the broken water main that are causing the real damage. The narrative that Californians are simply paying their fair share for a premium, eco-friendly product is a comforting story, but the evidence suggests it's more of a fairy tale used to justify a price that feels increasingly like a ripoff. The real culprits, it seems, are hiding elsewhere. Let's talk about the two elephants in the room: taxes and profits. It's true that California has some of the highest gasoline taxes in the nation. These taxes and fees fund road repairs, public transportation, and other state infrastructure projects. They are a significant and transparent part of the price you pay at the pump. When you look at a breakdown of the gas price, you can see exactly how many cents per gallon are going to state and federal taxes. However, recent reports from state agencies and the governor's office do not point to any new, sudden tax hikes that would explain the recent volatility in prices. The tax rate is high, but it's been consistently high. It doesn't explain why prices can jump 50 cents in a month. The second and arguably more controversial elephant is corporate profits. Oil companies operating in California have consistently earned some of the highest profits in the country. This isn't a secret, it's a point Governor Newsom has repeatedly hammered home, accusing the industry of gouging consumers. The data appears to back him up. A May 2025 analysis confirmed that the mystery surcharge, that extra bit Californians pay even after taxes and fees, goes directly into the pockets of the oil industry as profit. During price spikes, these profit margins balloon to astonishing levels, suggesting that companies are taking advantage of market conditions to maximize their earnings at the expense of drivers. This situation is made worse by California's unique market conditions. The state is what's known as a fuel island. Because of its special blend requirements and limited pipeline infrastructure connecting it to other refining centers, California can't easily import gasoline when there's a local supply disruption. If a refinery in the state has an issue or shuts down for maintenance, supply tightens, and with few competitors able to ship in their own product, the remaining companies can effectively charge more. It's a classic case of supply and demand, but one where the supply is controlled by a small handful of major players who stand to benefit from any disruption. This market isolation is about to get even more precarious. Two major refineries, which together produce 17% of the state's gasoline, are scheduled to close by mid-2026. These closures are happening partly because of the high cost of required upgrades and the anticipated long-term shift to electric vehicles. While this might be good for the environment in the long run, in the short term it means even less supply and potentially less competition. This could give the remaining refiners even more power to set prices, making the mystery surcharge a more permanent and painful feature of life in California unless something fundamental changes. Faced with public outrage and mounting evidence of excessive profits, the California state government has decided it can no longer just stand by and watch. In 2023, Governor Newsom signed a landmark law aimed directly at what he calls oil industry price gouging. This wasn't just a strongly worded letter, it was a piece of legislation that gave the state real teeth for the first time. The new law grants the California Energy Commission, a state regulatory body, unprecedented power to investigate price spikes and, if necessary, penalize oil companies for earning excessive profits. It's a bit like giving a referee the ability to fine a player on the spot for flopping too dramatically. The core of this new law is transparency. For years, oil companies have operated behind a veil of secrecy, making it difficult to understand their true costs and profit margins. The new rules require them to submit more detailed data to the state, allowing regulators to see exactly how much it costs to produce a gallon of gas and how much profit is being made on top of that. The Newsom administration claims this new accountability is already working. In late 2024, they announced that prices were already lower than the previous year, saving drivers billions of dollars. They argue that simply knowing they are being watched is forcing companies to keep prices in check. The law also gives the California Energy Commission the power to set a maximum gross gasoline refining margin. If the commission determines that companies are exceeding this profit cap, it can impose a penalty. This is a powerful tool, but it's also a controversial one. The oil industry argues that this amounts to price fixing and will discourage investment in California's refineries, potentially leading to the exact supply shortages the law is meant to prevent. They point to the planned refinery closures as evidence that California's tough regulatory environment is making it impossible to do business, a claim that state officials dismiss as an excuse to avoid accountability. So what does this all mean for the future of California gas prices? The state is basically running a massive real-world experiment. On one side, you have a government trying to use its regulatory power to protect consumers from what it sees as corporate greed. On the other, you have a powerful industry warning that these interventions will backfire and harm the market. There is no evidence of outright fraud or a corrupt scheme to alter fuel blends, but there is a clear battle over profits and control. For now, Californians are caught in the middle, hoping that this new war on gouging results in real relief at the pump and not just more political theater.